Hey guys, this is Dr. Michael Tansini here with the Move with Tank podcast, and today I've got two people with me today. They own or they operate two separate burn boot camps, but yet they are husband and wife, and so they're a pretty awesome couple, doing some really awesome things here around the Triangle, and so. Lindsey and Steven, welcome to the show.
What's up, you guys?
How's it going, guys?
Glad to be here.
Awesome. So now COVID-19, it's kind of thrown us all for a pretty big loop right now. How are you guys holding up?
I'm so proud of just Burn as an organization, just how they responded to this whole thing. I think we were all probably taken aback in the very beginning with how long we were actually going to be outside of our gyms. But I mean, Burn had a plan in place the next day, and we were jumping on live workouts and Zooms with our teams, with our entire gyms, both Steven and my respective gyms, pretty much immediately. So I feel like we're doing a great job given the circumstances that we're in right now. And it feels like the morale of both of our gyms has been, as motivated and optimistic as we possibly could be. So I'm proud of our people for sure.
Yeah, it was a very seamless transition how quickly we were able to just migrate from being inside four walls to all of a sudden running thing online as if that's what it always was. It was, like I said, super seamless transition that made things easier for us, but also for our members. And, a big part of, what makes Burn Bootcamp special is the community of people that we have. So the fact that, we were finishing up Zoom workouts and people were hanging on afterwards for 5-10 minutes, just talking and chatting, it gave people a sense of normalcy that a lot of people don't have because they were disconnected from that place that they would go to get their workouts in and see people and stuff like that. So, obviously not ideal, but we've definitely.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I have the pleasure to work with a few of your members just on like a continuity type basis to where I just help them stay healthy. And I've kind of seen it from like a third party. And I can tell you, like, people are loving what you guys are doing. They're so, grateful for what Burn is doing and what you guys are doing and all the effort that you're putting in. And they all are super pumped to get back in the gym whenever that time comes. But, it's the videos and the Zoom calls and all that stuff has been helping them out the best that it possibly can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, all right, now, can you guys introduce yourselves? So, like, I said your names and kind of I'm on what you guys do, but can you just, Lindsey, let's start with you.
Okay.
Can we just start who you are and how you got to where you are now, and where's your boot camp at and all that stuff?
Yeah, so my name is Lindsey Arias, which is, we just had our 1-year wedding anniversary. So prior Lindsey Willis, but now Lindsey Arias. And over at the Cary Burn Bootcamp. I've been with Burn for over 4 years now, which has been just a cool ride to see the franchise start where it was 4 years ago to where it is today. I went to East Carolina University, which is where I fell in love with the health and fitness world. I had the opportunity to do a really cool internship out in San Diego with Todd Durkin over at Fitness Quest 10, which was a phenomenal experience. That's actually where Steven and I met, was in college. And I never pictured myself doing group fitness as a career. I always thought I was going to go more the personal training route, which I did for a little while. But at my internship is where I fell in love with the group aspect, and the fact that you can still do personal training in a group, because I, for part of my job in college, taught the Les Mills, which was a really fun way to make money in college and stay active and, help out the student population. But I didn't really have that connection because it's a little bit more group designated, not as much one-on-one. So after working in personal training for a couple of years in Raleigh. I came to Raleigh for a job opportunity and for this guy. And I was contacted by a buddy of mine from ECU, letting me know about Burn and the fact that it was coming to the Triangle and that I should get in contact with the owners that were opening up the Cary location. And it was just kind of fate from there. People that we are good friends with now that are our franchise partners. And yeah, it was a lot of little steps to get to where we're at now, but Burn has been a game changer for not only us, but for our communities. So it's been an awesome 4 years. I can't wait to see where the next 4 take us. We're just getting started, which is cool to think about. So yeah, long story short, that's how I got here. I'm from New Hampshire, so there's a whole prior to why I came down here. But yeah, so we're happy with where we're at, and in both of our gyms now running as sister facilities, and it's been really cool.
It's awesome. Steven, now you and I have a very common, younger years.
Man.
So can you tell us?
So, my name's Steven Arias, head trainer at Burn Bootcamp Chapel Hill, and me and Mike, we actually are from the same hometown. So we're both from Concord, we're both 704 boys. He went to a different high school, and I believe you're 1 year older, right? I think that's what it was. You're 1 year older. So he went to J.M. Robinson High School, and then I went to Concord High School. But we know some of the same people. So like I said, we're only a year apart, and awesome that we're in similar fields now with both physical therapy, exercise, health, and wellness. But so yeah, I remember that first time me and Michael met. We actually had that background, which is pretty awesome. But as Lindsey mentioned, we had similar backgrounds in the sense that we both went to ECU. We both were in the exercise, health, and fitness major field. When I graduated high school or college, I went more the strength and conditioning route. So I was a strength and conditioning coach at a local gym called D1 Sports, and primarily trained. We had general pop, but it was also a lot of athletes, both young all the way up to professional. And that was basically kind of what I did, both personal training and group training. We had boot camp style workouts, a little bit different setup, but still group training. And then we also did more sports-specific training individually with our personal training clients and athletes. So that's what I did pretty much the first 4 years out of college. Throughout that time, Lindsey had obviously switched over to Burn Bootcamp, and it was cool seeing two different sides of training and two kind of different avenues. And then when Cary Burn Bootcamp opened up, Chapel Hill was always it was always planned. It wasn't sure when that was going to happen, but it was always a part of the next gym that was going to open up. And Lindsey was actually going to help run that one as well. And long story short, things in my old gym, they just started, looking a little bleak. So that's when I decided, you know what, Lindsey's crushed it at Burn Bootcamp, Cary. I think that would be an awesome thing for me to, double team and tag team with Lindsey and, kind of make that jump over to the Chapel Hill side. So, yeah, that's basically what happened. Beth and Brian knew who I was. They knew that I was also a trainer. They, trusted me with taking over that gym as well. So it made and then for me, I was fortunate because it made that transition super easy because I lived with somebody that had already built this thing, for 2 years. So it was easy for me to kind of hit the ground running and have, somebody at home that can always bounce off ideas and questions and things like that. So Chapel Hill got up to speed fairly quickly, and things have been, we're coming up on 2 years. June, actually, yeah. 10 days. June 11th is when we first opened the doors to June 11th, 2018. We first opened the doors and Burn Bootcamp Chapel Hill. So coming up on 2 years, and crazy that it's gone that fast. We have an amazing community of people, very diverse community. Obviously, we're in Chapel Hill, so it's cool to see ages all over the place coming through our doors. But it's been fun. It's been something that has really been a calling to me to not get too in depth. I grew up an overweight kid most of my life. So being able to be on this side of things and living a much healthier life, it's awesome that I can not only resonate a little bit more with some of our members that have some of these, struggles, but it makes it much more fulfilling for me to be like, yo, I know what side you're on, and I promise you this side is way better. So let me help you get there. So that way you can have a more fulfilling, more, enjoyable life, because it is truly greener on this side of health and wellness. And that's one thing that really kind of further pushed me towards Burn Bootcamp, is to really kind of hit that demographic and being able to make more of an impact there.
Gotcha, man. That's awesome. So how is it how you guys both earn or operate your own boot camps, but then you come home to the same house later on in the day? Does it keep on flowing, or are you guys able to kind of somewhat turn it off a little bit? Or
we try. I feel like it's hard because we both love our gyms so much, and like every day is so different. So the first thing you want to do is like share that the cool thing that happened today or the client that crushed it, right? But I think we've definitely made an effort to have some separation just to make sure that there's still like Steven and Lindsey time, even though 99.9% of our life is Burn. Like it really is, especially when we're in the thick of things, when the gyms are actually open and running. So we definitely take time. I don't know if it's on a daily basis, but maybe like a day out of the week where we kind of like turn it off for a little while. But it's different than if we both worked in the same job that we hated and then you came home and started talking about it. It's just like we like to share all the cool things that happen. So it's hard to turn it off, but we try.
It's hard to separate it because it is pretty much our life. But like ultimately, like we thoroughly enjoy it. We have fun doing it. So it's if it's like ever brought up or anything like that, it's more so just us kind of like feeding off each other and like she said, sharing positive things and stuff like that. It's never gotten to a point where we're just like, all right, we have to stop talking about Burn, or we have to stop. Like, it's not, it's, yes, technically it's our job, but like, it's what we do. It's fun. It's enjoyable. We have a good time. And honestly, I think it's why we have even more successful, like, why we have successful Burns, because we do have that, that 1-2 punch. Like, the fact that Lindsey can hop in, we have like a members only page for Chapel Hill and for Cary, but Lindsey can hop on and talk to my members, and I can hop on and talk to her members. We've been training both gyms. Like this morning, I trained Cary and Chapel Hill at 6 a.m. and 8 a.m. Like we have that ability to be able to transition between both gyms seamlessly. So I am solely the head trainer at Chapel Hill. I can train the Cary people and she can train the Chapel Hill people. So it really, I think our members have a, not to like be bragging about it, but they have like a win-win where they get 2 head trainers that can really train them and really help them through certain things, especially during times like this. Lindsey can resonate with some of my members a little bit better, and sometimes I can resonate with her members a little better. So that's been awesome. And like I said, I think us having that partnership, not only like personally, but also with 2 gyms, really makes for us to have a good like 1-2 punch with our 2 Burns.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's a great point. They get twice the benefits just by 2 minds working together and being able to work together, and two head people that know who they are and their goals, and then work together to help them get better. And that's definitely a win for everyone who's at your gyms.
Yeah,
absolutely.
For sure.
Yeah. So what do you guys like to do outside? Do you guys like to stay active? Do you guys like to binge watch Netflix, or what do you guys like to do?
We're outdoor people for sure. We like to travel a lot. So like that part of COVID has been tougher. And I don't even mean like big international travel, just quick weekend trips. Like when COVID first started, I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to get to go camping so much during this time. So I bought a bunch of camping equipment and nope. Shut down. So we definitely like to be outside, whether it's hiking, camping, beach for sure. But don't get me wrong, there have been parts of COVID where I'm like, I just watched 2 seasons of that show in 24 hours. And like, that's also, but that's not a normal for us. That's like, we're just trying to figure out the waters just like everybody else. But I think typically we like to be active and moving and outdoors and with people, which is another reason why COVID's been tough.
We love hugging and high-fiving and everything that we're not supposed to be doing right now. So, but no, like, yeah, me personally, I enjoy lifting. Like, I love lifting weights. That's probably been the hardest part for me. Like, even though I have Burn Bootcamp, I've always had like my own separate, gym membership. It's just like my getaway spot to, just kind of focus on me and do what I want to do. That's been hard not having that, because, and that's because that, like I said, that's my escape. Like it's, you know, I know I've talked to you about this actually. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna go home and train. Like I can't, like I just cannot. Like home is like my comfort zone. Like don't get me wrong, I've done it a couple times, but I'd much rather be at a gym somewhere and just kind of like headphones in, doing my own thing. But like obviously to each their own. I'm jealous because now you do have that, and you don't have anywhere else to go. You know, but aside from that, like yeah, it's just. You know, I like lifting weights. That's one of my, you know, go-to things. We do like to travel a lot. That's always something that we enjoy doing. But yeah, I mean, just typical stuff. Staying active, moving, taking our dogs out. Nothing crazy.
It's awesome, man. So now, why did you guys choose the fitness space out of all the different fields you could have gone into? Why did you choose exercise science and fitness and all that good stuff?
I'll kick this off. So for me, I started my weight loss after my freshman year of college. So I got into my freshman year, continued to just like eat poorly, not take care of myself, very unhealthy, like just didn't care about school. I was just like, that was probably like the lowest of my low in my entire life. Just like, as far as, you know, me taking care of myself, not caring about anything really. And all I knew was that I love playing sports. I wanted to be involved with sports or training or something like that. After that freshman year of college, I was on academic probation. Like I did awful. And that's where like, you know, that summer, you know, me going home, it really just kind of hit, you know, that I need to do something. Like I cannot live the rest of my life like this. Like something needs to change. Something needs to happen. I didn't know how to start doing that. But my first kind of goal was like, all right, well, first off, I'm done, you know, carrying my body the way I do. So that summer is when I started eating right and I started working out regularly once again. And sure enough, I get back to college. By the time I got back to college, I had already dropped like 20-ish pounds, continued working out, continued nutrition. I like, you know, almost hunkered down for my whole sophomore year and really just focused on transforming my body. And I always joke around with some of my members how exercise and fitness is far surpassed the aesthetics and, you know, just health and wellness. It kind of trickles into everything else in your life. I went from almost failing out after my freshman year to getting straight A's for the next 3 years. I was like, I didn't trim fat off my brain. I didn't train my, you know, I didn't do anything up there other than just creating my work ethic, creating healthy habits, and that trickled into everything else in my life. So once I was in that weight loss process, my sophomore year, you know, you're taking like gen ed classes and stuff like that. And that's where I was like, this is it. Like, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to, I've done it all myself. I see how amazing this has been just for me personally. And I want to be able to transfer that sensation, that feeling that I went through to others that may feel, you know, either hopeless or just feel like they're in a rut or feel like they need something to change. So that was kind of like my catalyst that got me to do that. And then it was, I couldn't get enough of it. I remember being in class and just like absorbing everything like a sponge because I lived through everything that I was learning on myself. And then I figured out like where I could have done things better, where I did things wrong, where I'd like nailed it. And it was just like addicting to keep learning about this process because while I was learning it, I was, you know, directly implementing it on myself. So it was like a fun, just like I couldn't get enough of it. And before I knew it, like college was over and I just like dived right into it. And it was, and I know without a doubt that this is what I need to be doing.
That's awesome. That's awesome. You know, like you brought up such a cool point about how exercise and training is way more than just aesthetics, right? It's such a keystone habit, which that kind of helps shape the rest of your life. You know, like you guys, you know, we never talked about this, but you guys may have kicked it off from the beginning because you're both into fitness, right? And you're both into a lot of things that come with it, like self-improvement, you know, and like working towards a goal, you know, working on being the best version of yourself possible. And, you know, as soon as, you know, a person can establish that, oftentimes in that fitness realm, they start to look at other parts of their lives and they're like, oh, you know, like I could be so much better in this area, in this area, in this area. And like, oh, like, you know, I'm the kind of person who is a very diligent person who likes to set goals and work towards them and doesn't like to settle for anything less than the best. Like, take that same mindset that they've been using in fitness and then put it into their schoolwork and then put it into, you know, working with the people, you know, around them and all those things. So Steven, that's so cool, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And like I said, it was a direct correlation how like I got healthier and my grades got better, but it was all just the fundamental of like creating those habits and doing things that are hard. Like, you know, working out and eating right are not easy. And, you know, being able to do those hard things then made it easier to do the other hard things, like staying on top of my schoolwork and doing those things, or like, you know, my career, you know, fitness facility or the fitness field is something that is hard for a lot of people. Like it's pretty common that, you know, you always hear about like, you know, the wages aren't that high, you know, you don't make that great of money, this and that, but it's also, you know, that's average, you know, and we're not looking for average. We've always strived to get above that, which is why we're in such a great position that we are now. But all that stemmed from me creating that, you know, that health and fitness habit, which trickled on into everything else. And I always say the same about Lindsey. Like, had I met Lindsey as my freshman or sophomore year, I don't think we'd be together because I wasn't in the right place yet either. You know what? I wasn't in a good position, and that helped me find my wife. So thank you, exercise.
Nice, man. That's awesome. Well, I'm Lindsey. What about you?
So I don't have the weight loss background. I actually come from kind of the opposite. I was always an athlete growing up, like from ages 7 till through college. And I was taught early on, like eating healthy and exercise and just all these healthy habits were just innate in me because my parents instilled that in us. And like we spent our summers hiking and being outdoors. And so all of these things that I just thought were known and normal and just I figured everybody, you know. And so when I went to college, I got 3 jobs at the rec center, and I wasn't even into health and fitness yet, other than my own personal like desires and passions. So I played basketball every day. I worked in the weight room, and then I taught group fitness. And I very quickly learned moving to the South. And I mean, it's everywhere. It's nationally, but the South specifically was a big cultural change for me. Not just in the, you know, in the culture, but just in the, you know, the levels of overweight, obesity, things that are, like I said, they're prevalent everywhere, but it's different from where I grew up. And I knew that I always wanted to help people. That's been just something that I've wanted to do, I guess, since I was younger, but I didn't know in which avenue. And then I quickly learned through my experiences in the rec center and in my own fitness journeys and just how empowering health and fitness can be. And I figured if I can teach somebody that can then teach their kids how to live a healthy lifestyle, then it will just be a normalcy. It can just be, you know, things that everybody grows up with. So people don't have to go through the struggle that, you know, Steven went through, and other people that have to figure it out on their own. I can't imagine how hard that would be, especially, you know, when you're an young adult, and all of these things are instilled in you from years and years and years. So I wanted to change, as corny as it sounds, I wanted to, and I still want to change the world by the trickle effect of teaching my clients healthy, but realistic. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be chicken and broccoli 6 times a day and running 10 miles a day. It can be a lifestyle. You can be happy and well-rounded and successful all at the same time. So I feel like my experiences throughout college, just being around physical activity, and I was one of the lucky ones. I picked my major and stayed with it, but I didn't even know if I was going to like it. And then throughout my major, there were just confirmations that I was doing what I needed to do, because certain classes that you had to take as prereqs, like I did terribly in physics, but I did amazing in biomechanics, which is literally physics, but with the body. I was like, okay, this is what I'm good at. This is what I can focus on. It makes sense to my brain. And I knew that sitting behind a computer somewhere was just not going to be, for me. So it was just experience after experience. That was just confirmation as to why I was doing what I was doing. And I love it. I still do. And it's different every day, which is exciting. And so yeah, just living out things that were taught to me from a young age and then applying them to help change the world is my own personal experience.
That's awesome. That's real, real cool. So like, I mean, both of your kind of wise missions kind of came out there. Without me even asking, like, it's just it's very apparent, like it's so ingrained with who you guys are as people and what you're trying to do. But so are you guys taking those missions, those personal missions, and then living that out through your Burn Bootcamps?
I think our ability, and this is, I'm speaking very specifically to Steven and I, not just generalizing across, the health and fitness world, but I think Steven and I's ability to really connect with our clients on a one-on-one basis and to be able to, empathize with them and hear them and listen to them and not just try to give a straight up answer, because there is no straight up answer when it comes to health and fitness. Are there like big umbrella, general things like eat healthy and exercise? Yes, but it's not going to translate to somebody the same way as it would translate to another person. So I really think that our ability to connect with our clients on an individual basis has let us live out our missions, because you can yell, eat healthy and exercise, so you're blue in the face, but until you really learn where someone has come from and what they are passionate about and what they resonate with and what they want, because that's one thing that we see all the time in the gym is people think they want something, and then they learn what it would be to get that something. And now that something doesn't sound as enticing. Like, I want to look at that person on the cover of the magazine. And you can lay it out for them like, hey, this is what your training regimen would look like and your nutrition regimen would look like. And you would look like that for 30 seconds. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, maybe I don't. So where do their like desires, their wants meet what they're willing to do to get for it? And I feel like that's can be a touchy area and can be kind of a confusing area. But I feel like Steven and I have the ability to do that with our clients because we listen. So I really truly feel like what we are teaching our clients is going to be passed down to their families. And I'm hoping that starts that conversation. So yeah.
Yeah. And the one thing that really makes it easy for us to do what we do is that our kind of, I guess, our pillars of what we stand on very much go hand in hand with what Burn Bootcamp preaches and what they're about, which is what makes obviously this teamwork of, us as trainers underneath the Burn Bootcamp umbrella. It's not about the 6-pack abs. It's not about the, trying to be as shredded as possible. It's about finding a life that is worth living for yourself, that makes you happy, that makes you enjoyable, that leaves you satisfied. Because I've been on both spectrums. I've been incredibly overweight and I've been incredibly in great shape, low body fat, single digit body fat. And I was unhappy in both positions. I was unhappy overweight. I was unhappy in the best position or the best shape I've ever in, because that took a ton of sacrificing. And it took a lot of things that, for me, I like to go out and have pizza with Lindsey on the weekend. I like to have a drink every now and then. And could I eliminate those things? Yes. But then if I'm also unhappy doing those things, then at what line do you cross? You're like, that's too much. And that's one of those things that, that's how I live my life. I live my life in a place where I can, enjoy these things or enjoy food or whatever, take a day or two off and not feel bad about it. And that's kind of one of the things that we do preach at Burn Bootcamp is that, we're here for longevity. There's not this race event that we have in 2 weeks that we got to get incredibly in good shape for. It's about day after day, week after week, year after year, just working for just overall health and wellness. And yes, those aesthetics goals will definitely come. And if you want that, we can absolutely go for it. But it's kind of like tying all your happiness into, well, when I get that promotion, I'm going to be happy. When I get that car, when I get that house, when I get my wife or husband, like tying everything into that end goal of just waiting for that moment to truly be happy, it's just a recipe for disaster, instead of, hey, being happy with the process and, being happy with where you are today, but know that you can be better. And that's cool. And that's fine. And having that to work towards. And that's kind of how we think when it comes to training and health and wellness. And Burn Bootcamp we're just like, neck and neck with having that same thought and vision. So it's awesome that, to have that support, and then being able to preach the way we are and know that we're not selling out for another image or vice versa. So it's pretty much a seamless, cohesion between us as trainers and Burn as far as like, their mantra and their, what they stand for.
Man, that's awesome, man. And you hit the nail on the head, it's about the process, right? It's about overcoming the obstacles and being that 1% better, every single day, and then falling in love with that process versus just being, oh, like I need to get this next goal. I need to get this next goal because once you're there, like it's fleeting, right? So like it happens in a second and it's gone in a second.
Mm-hmm.
It's like someone who let's take an athlete, who all they want to do is play college ball or play pro ball, and they hate everything about it. And once they get there, and all of a sudden they're gone, and then like they've checked that box, they've achieved that goal. Well, then what's the next one, right? And they just get there and they say, hey, like I've achieved this goal. Like I actually don't like playing. Why the heck am I doing this? And they fall off, and then they drop off and they lose a lot of those habits because the goal was checked. Or let's say someone is, all they want to do is lose 20 pounds. And they're like, once I get to 20 pounds, like I'm going to be so much happier and I'm going to be so much better. I'm going to look so much better. I'm going to fit into the best dress size I want. I'm going to have abs. I'm going to be able to take off my shirt. And they put in all this work to get down to lose those 20 pounds. But then that box is just checked. And then all of a sudden they revert back to everything they did, which didn't get them there in the first place.
No, me too. Like I was the same way. The heaviest I got to was like 255. And I was like, all right, 225. All right, 200. All right, 190. And I kept pushing the envelope, and then eventually I was definitely under eating and definitely overtraining to try to get to that. Like I just got so obsessed with seeing that scale go down, thinking I was making progress, but really I was just beating my body up. And then eventually the lowest I ever got to was 172, which is wild considering I walk around at like 200 now, 205. So, but yeah, same thing. I get to that number and I'm like, why do I not feel better about this? Why do I still feel unfulfilled? And then that's kind of where, and that's, kind of talking about like me kind of being able to myself, I can help curve that, learning curve for all my other members that I can see, okay, I know what point you're at because I was there, but hear me out, right? Because it's going to be it's going to be a long road and it's going to be unfulfilled if we keep attacking it or keep thinking about it that same way. So that's one of the coolest things that I've been able to do is kind of like notice what chapter of the journey they're on and be like, all right, look, this is what could happen next. I don't need you to be like worried or this and that. Like I wish people would have told me that when I was, 180. I'm like, hey man, if you actually start strength training and stop doing so much cardio, you might build your body up a little bit better. But instead, what did I do? I started cutting more calories, and just, but that was my trial and error. And that makes me a better trainer today.
Yeah. Hey, man, that's so awesome. Have you ever read the book, The Infinite Game by Simon Sinek?
I've read his other book. I don't know if we did that one.
I don't know if we've read that one. I don't think we have.
I think we have. He does the was it the circle? Yeah, like the circle diagram. Do you remember?
I know what you're talking about.
I can't remember what it was, but what was that?
So he has Winners Eat Last. He has Start with Why, and The Infinite Game. I know they're the three books of his that I've read. But in The Infinite Game, you should definitely read it. He talks about this idea of there's two kind of games, right? So we have a finite game and the infinite game. The infinite game is just like you're talking about: health, wellness, fitness, happiness, life. Like there is no start and there is no end, and it's just the idea of constantly improving yourself on a daily basis so that you can stay in the game and be playing the game 50 years down the road, still continue to make progress, versus you've got this finite game which has a start and finish, like a baseball game or a football game or some kind of race, right? To where you've got this start line, this finish line, the first pitch, a final whistle, however you want to say it. And if you use the same rules to play the infinite game as you do the finite game, you're going to see this peak and then a drop off, right? And you're going to fall out of the game simply because you're playing by the wrong rules. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
Yeah. And highly recommend that book, man. It's so good.
Yeah, we'll definitely, we're constantly picking up stuff like that. So we'll have to check that one out.
Definitely read his other book.
So, okay, awesome. So now, what are you guys doing at your individual boot camps, or I guess at both your boot camps, to live out those missions? So like, what actionable steps have you guys implemented to make those things happen?
So we have through Burn Bootcamp, we have what we call our focus meetings. And focus meeting is basically a 15-minute meeting where you can sit down with, your head trainer, your other trainers, and kind of go ahead and just like lay out what it is that, why are you here? What do we want to work on? Kind of what are those progressions look like? And that's something that's been invaluable to our to our members, because it gives them that that true one-on-one time with, hey, you get to steal that trainer. You get to talk about whatever it is you want to talk about. You get to work on whatever it is you want to work on. Hey, you want to have me walk you through macros? Let's do that. Hey, you want to work on double unders? Let's do that. It's just truly that 15 minutes for you to kind of work on whatever it is that you want to do. And, we have our, our general information, and kind of like our pillars of what we believe in and, our keys to success, but then it's nice to be able to implement that on a one-on-one basis with each member. And that's one of those things that, really we call them optionally mandatory. Obviously most fitness facilities have their health assessments, their fitness assessments where we're like, no, you need to schedule one within the first week that you join. And then we'll start, programming or game planning from then on out. And we've been talking about this, we're not doing this for a 2-week event, a 30-day challenge, a 60-day challenge. We're doing this for long-term health and wellness. And that's how we approach it. I'm not going to sit here and give you a meal plan for the next 30 days, because what happens when day 31 shows up? If I haven't taught you or educated you on this, then you're going to run out of directions and you're going to go back to your old habits, right? And that's where you always hear oh, I'm doing Whole30 again, or I'm doing keto again, or I'm doing paleo again. The problem is we're getting too streamlined and maybe too restrictive for some people. Now, some people can succeed in that, but not everybody does, which is why you have that, bounce back, the yo-yo or whatever. So that's where we can really try to figure out each individual member and figure out what makes them tick. Somebody like me, I could never do intermittent fasting because my reason why I was growing up overweight was I was a binge eater. So now you're telling me I have to close the windows of where I eat and eat more? Well, that's going to feed right into my binge eating habits, and that's going to be bad. Right? So imagine if I'm over here, high and mighty preaching intermittent fasting and everybody, well, there's going to be that 10, 20% of people that are like me, that's going to be very, very detrimental to them. And that, like I said, and that's what really helps us really talk to those people one-on-one and figure out who they are, what makes them tick, and ultimately, why did you walk through the doors of Burn Bootcamp?
That's awesome, man. That's so awesome. Lindsey, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, that's true for both gyms, the focus meetings, because that's a staple with ours. But the other thing, we're talking about longevity here, right? Everything that we've talked about for the past 15 minutes is how do we keep people continuing inside the gym, outside the gym? And the two big things that we really, really do on a daily basis is emphasize the community that we have. It's almost scary how close some of our clients are with each other. They spend each time outside of the gym, inside of the gym, their families know each other. And it was cool to see that happen organically. Cause people come into the gym knowing each other, but then all of a sudden there's this group of 30 women that are taking vacations with each other once a year. And so the community aspect, because they are giving each other support, they're giving each other accountability outside of just me and Steven doing so, right? It's like when a parent tries to tell their kids something and they're like, no, yeah. And then someone else says the same thing and they're like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah. So they give each other that additional outside support. So we do a lot with the community, not just our community in Burn either, but with the Cary community, the Chapel Hill community, trying to reach as many people as possible without them even being our clients sometimes, offering our services elsewhere. And then also involving the families. That's a big one for us. Because your wife is extremely healthy and active, and it's easier when you guys both are.
Yes.
Thing that we combat a little bit is the husband or the wife will be all in and they're Burn and they're logging their food and they're doing a great job, but the other significant other is wants to kind of push it in the opposite direction. And it's so much easier when the whole family is involved and excited. And then obviously I've talked about how I want to affect the children as well, so that they can grow up with healthy habits. So getting the families involved. So for example, we're going to schedule probably next week a live Zoom and we're going to do kids nutrition. So the kids are going to jump on the Zoom, the kids of our clients with their parents. And we're just going to talk about nutrition, obviously in a very kind of broad scope, but just to start that conversation, because that's a tough one to have as a parent. From what I've heard anyways, we're not parents, but with kids, it's tough because you got to be careful about what you say and how you say it. And, so us really emphasizing the community and the family involvement into all of these things that we're teaching from a health and fitness standpoint is how we're really preaching our passion and our mantra and what we want to do with the communities. Because if we can change the community, then it just keeps spreading. And the community at Burn is unlike anything I've ever seen. And I know I'm biased because I'm Burn Bootcamp all the way, but it truly is.
And that's something that I saw when I wasn't even with Burn. I just remember thinking, like, what are they drinking over there? Like, it was just, like, I had a gym that had group training, and it just wasn't the same. So I really did get to see it from a third person point of view, and just being like, something's crazy over there.
Yeah.
They're just like
they're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. But then I drink the Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
I mean, I can actually see that from being that third party. Like I've, worked with a bunch of your members and met a lot of your members. I've had 3 of your workers actually come shadow me. Now, one of them, Sarah, she's off at school right now, or I guess she might be home. But so like I've seen it from that third point of view, and man, you guys really do. You guys have an amazing group at both gyms, and everyone is very. I'm enthusiastic about their friends at the gym and their accountability partners, and just ultimately how much fun it is to go work out at your gyms.
Yeah, it's cool. And I mean, they get to, because we're looking at, health and wellness in like the most well-rounded vision as possible. And part of that are the friendships and the relationships that you create. You want to surround yourself with like-minded individuals who are driven and accountable to each other. So just seeing that grow organically from just inside our 4 walls, and it just totally transcends just our gym. And that's why, because our physical gym is closed right now, our gym is still alive and well. Our community is still thriving and strong, and it's just a big testament to what they have grown as members and as women and men organically within those 4 walls. It's pretty amazing.
Mm-hmm. It's always cool to see somebody like new come to the gym, and they're just like, "Are you guys like all best friends? Like you guys like all know each other?" But it's just like the one of my favorite things is seeing those friendships blossom, because people come in for a place to exercise or a place to burn calories, and they end up making a best friend that they would have never had. So that, and guess what? That's going to make it way easier to keep showing up day after day, week after week, year after year. So there's so much that goes into creating that health habit and the fitness habit, and working out consistently. But man, we make it a lot easier by having people that, she said, like-minded people around you, people that keep supporting you. I mean, like, our members just constantly text each other like, "Hey, where you at?" Or, "Hey, I'll see you in the morning." Like, and all that is just little tidbits of just pushing encouragement every single day. That, hey, guess what? Today might have been a day where they're like, I'm just not feeling it. And then you get a text like 10 minutes later, "Hey, you're gonna be at the gym? All right, let me get my shoes on. Let me get but that constant, just like, pushing and encouraging, whether it's from us or from our members, is what ultimately creates, such amazing success in our gyms. And that's not just aesthetics wise, that's just overall health, happiness, life happiness, and wellness, and all that stuff.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So, now boot camps, they're pretty intense, like you guys do an intense style of working out and training. And what do you tell to the person who may have seen, you guys through the front window, or may have heard it from their friend who's just like, listen, like, I just don't know if I can do this. Like, it's, I just don't think I'm in shape enough to actually start Burn Bootcamp. What do you guys tell them? And then what do you have in place to help them have a smooth transition to the gym?
So I'm sure Steven has similar stories. Like, multiple times people will come in and be like, I came and sat in your parking lot for 3 weeks straight and never walked in the doors because I was just a little too nervous or a little too scared. The word boot camp automatically puts a certain expectation on what that workout looks like. The awesome thing is that because our gyms are so diverse in age, weight, ethnicity, just injuries, what their previous experience were, we have people that will advocate for us just by being there. So anytime someone either approaches us on the street, which happens more than you would think, or asks, sends an email, calls, whatever, the first thing I'll tell them is just come in and watch. Like, come in, you don't even have to put your exercise clothes on. Literally just come in and watch, because I don't care what camp time you come during the day at Gary or Chapel Hill, you're not going to see cookie cutter fit crazy beast women and men out there. You're going to see a little bit of everything, and so coming in and watching is a big seller for us, in the sense that anybody truly can't do it. I have a 75-year-old woman, and she works out next to my 18-year-old college athlete, and they're partners a lot of the time. They're the cutest partners ever, and they're both getting their best workout, but the workout looks completely different. And so how we execute that is that one-on-one training. It's a group setting, but it's a one-on-one training. So if it's someone's first day and they have, a double knee replacement, and then you will literally stay by that person during the entire workout while you're training a group from afar, and just walk them through these very basic movements and just teaching them how to move without weight, without intensity, without impact. And just because they'll just get sucked into the encouraging atmosphere, because during that exact scenario, that woman will have, or man will have, 15, 20 people come over and high five them throughout the workout, because that's the community that we have. So it's our responsibility as trainers to make sure that they execute a safe and appropriate workout, but the encouragement and the community itself will be what keeps them there. But anytime I have somebody that's hesitant, I just have them come in and just watch. I don't care if they come in and watch for a week and they never actually step on the floor, because they'll see in our crowd of people somebody that they can resonate with, that okay, you know what, I think she could. If she can do it, I can too.
Yeah. And that's the one thing that very literally Burn Bootcamp has kind of built in, and this is unlike any other gym that I've been, is literally within our training, we give you modifications. Like in my previous job, I would give modifications where I needed to. In this situation, we modify right off the bat for anybody that needs it. Hey guys, we're going front squats. You need to modify, take it down to one dumbbell. You need to really modify, go body weight. That's literally how I will explain an exercise. Well, now I've given 3 versions, one for my advanced, one for my intermediate, and now for my beginners. With one movement, 3 different ways to do it. And that's how we apply every single exercise, is literally giving you the modification that's best for you. And you can ramp it up whenever you need to, and you can ramp it down whenever you need to. But that's something that is very literally in our protocol of how we conduct camps and how we train them to make it more accessible. Hey guys, you're going to do XYZ in here, then you're going to take a lap outside the parking lot. If you can't run, if you got knee issues, shin joints, what I want you to do is you're going to do XYZ inside. And that's, once again, another way to provide that modification. And I'm not singling anybody out, calling anybody out. Here's your modification. Take it if you need it, right? Somebody may do good on that first lap and crush the run. On the second one, I got to stay inside on this one. So finding the ways of pushing yourself to your 100%. Another big thing that really kind of helps separate Burn from other places, and you've been able to see this firsthand, is our floating floor. That big that we have, for the listeners that don't know, it's basically kind of like a gymnastics floor. It's padded. It gives a little bit. It's amazing for limiting a lot of the force that your joints will take in your ankles and your knees and your hips. And we're doing any kind of jumping or anything, or any more high-yo plyometric type movements like that. That alone is something that will modify every movement for you, because it really just makes those movements a little bit less forceful on the body. But ultimately, like, you know, if someone comes to me and they're concerned, I'm completely honest with them. I'm like, you know what, it is going to be hard, but you're going to be capable of doing everything that I ask you to do. And never will I ask you to do anything that I think you're not capable of. Like, I'm not going to have a first timer come in and expect her to do something that one of my members that's been with me for a year and a half can do. Right. So that's where not only do we have the modifications, you know, implemented within the workout, but I will meet you wherever you are going to be at. And it's going to be challenging. It's going to be tough, but you're going to be able to do it. And we just got to keep showing up day after day. And most importantly, just have the thing between our ears ready to work and ready to make that change. Because a lot of times I've seen people who are very deconditioned push through workouts. And I've seen some people come in that I thought were in pretty good shape and they can't hang, you know, and that's fine. You know, that's fine. Like, you choose what difficult is for you. But ultimately, some people are mentally ready to make that change too, regardless of how hard the workout is.
Yeah, definitely. And those things are awesome. You know, like having the ability to take someone, you know, who hasn't worked out in the last 15 years and say, hey, listen, we can modify this so that you get what you need to move forward. And, you know, it's okay that you can't do some of these things right off the bat, but we're going to help you get there, and I'm going to be with you each step of the way. And, you know, I think that's awesome, guys. I really do. So now if someone out there right now is listening, they're like, I want to try Burn Bootcamp. How can they get in touch with both of you guys?
So we're obviously in a unique situation with COVID. But our biggest platform is our Facebook and Instagram pages. So getting on and following those and then sending us either a message or a Facebook message. But the cool thing is, even though our gyms are closed, I had 3 people last week start their 2-week free trial, and they're Zooming with us. So we're not in the gym, but they're still getting like an experience with Burn in the community, and they're on the members only pages and they're meeting people. So they're getting to train with us right now for free, 2 weeks free. That's something that Burns offer all over the country for people that are just trying it out for the first time. And they don't have to wait until the doors are open. They can start now, which is really cool. And then they kind of get that taste of it. And then by the time we're able to get back into our gyms, it's just going to be like that much more awesome, because it's the true Burn feel in the community. But so yeah, that's something that we offer to everybody, because you probably hear of other gyms doing, you know, try out 1 class free or whatever, and that's awesome. But we want people to see some version of results before they commit and before they decide that it's something that they might want to do. Now, is 2 weeks going to be like major weight loss? No, obviously not. But the results just you can feel your body get stronger in 2 weeks. Your confidence can get better in 2 weeks. You can feel just even more comfortable mentally in 2 weeks. And all of those are considered progress. So I would say for people that have never tried out Burn, reach out to either Chapel Hill, Cary, whichever one they are closest to, and inquire about the 2-week free trial, because you'll get to meet your trainer, even if it's just via Zoom right now, and start to see what the community is like. And like I said, you'll be even more prepared walking into the doors for the first time when we are hopefully able to open, you know, fairly soon.
Yeah. So just reaching out to either of our, you know, social medias and also our website. You just Google Burn Bootcamp Chapel Hill or Burn Bootcamp Cary. That's a way to sign up for that 14-day test drive. But that is something that, you know, it's what also helps separate us from other fitness facilities in the sense of that we give you 14 days because it's going to take all 14 days to really see what Burn Bootcamp's about. Not every day is the same. It's not leg day every Monday. It's not cardio every Wednesday. Every day is different. Every week is different. And we have a massive umbrella of, you know, exercise training modalities that we cover, and all that just helps you be the, you know, most well-rounded that you can be. And most importantly, just helping you find that the exercise or fitness, you know, type of movement that'll help you continue to push. I love lifting weights and I dislike cardio, but I know that I need it. So being able to combine all those things together helped me become much more well-rounded. And there's people out there that are the opposite, that, hey, they'll do cardio any day of the week, but they don't like lifting weights, or they don't enjoy it. Then all of a sudden they find that new love for it because we're able to implement these things, you know, on a weekly basis to kind of expose people to some different stuff. So yes, using either of our websites will be a great way to sign up for that 14-day complimentary test drive.
Awesome, guys. Yeah, and I'll put all that in the show notes to make sure that everyone can find you, Google, a Facebook, Instagram, all those good things. But guys, thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me today. It's been a pleasure having you on, and hopefully have you guys on again in the future at some point.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love
Thanks
to.
for having us. It's been so fun.
Have you back in the gym. Stuff dies down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, hopefully at the start of July?
Hopefully sooner.
Yeah, hopefully.
So, have you guys heard anything about the, I know a group of gyms out there is pushing and trying to file a lawsuit with the state or with the governor. Are you guys incorporated in that?
No, but we are big advocates for having our story heard.
Okay.
I feel like we're able to present our unique situation and our ability to open and run a safe gym. But no, we're not part of that lawsuit movement. But we are advocating for opening sooner than later if possible. We miss our people.
Yeah, it's just like you guys said, it's such an important part of people's lives. And, gyms are way more than just fitness, right? It's family, it's community, it's habit, it's builds, there is such a keystone habit which impacts every part of someone's life, and I'm really got my fingers crossed for you guys, and hopefully we see you guys open soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks.
Yeah, so awesome, guys. Well, thank you for tuning in. I will have all the info up in the show notes. So if you have any questions for Steven and Lindsey, send them over a message. They're two awesome people that they'll be happy to chat with you. Well, guys, thanks for listening, and I'll catch you next time.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys.